Hey y'all, Ramdino here. Well, what a glorious day today is. Bluebird Day, just an awesome day to be out here in the woods. Today's episode is going to be a little unusual. So it's not about hiking. It's all about me. I promised this to my loyal followers out there that are like family to me, that are like friends to me. And so if you came here just for hiking, the Appalachian Trail through hikers, I'm sorry to disappoint you. We're really not going to cover much of that. So if you want to click off, that's okay. That's acceptable. It's not about the views, not about the subscribers today. It's all about the support that folks have given me out there and allow me to support the thru hikers out there. So for several weeks now, I have been asking for prayers and your good thoughts and things like that. And I have got hundreds of those in the comment section from you folks out there that say you're praying for me, that you're sending me good thoughts and all that stuff. And those mean so much to me. You know where I stand in the Lord. I'm a huge believer in the power of prayer. Like good thoughts are wonderful and everything, so do not get me wrong. Greatly appreciate those. But the power of prayer is huge, huge. And so anyway, we have to accept his sovereignty no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. No matter what happens when we pray, we have to accept that. So I've been asking you to pray for me for a particular health situation. And so the health situation I've asked you to pray for me is cancer, specifically prostate cancer. So a lot of people don't talk about that. A lot of men don't talk about that, much less telling 20,000 people about that. But that is what I have been dealing with really since November. So my PSA velocity went through the roof. Let me back up just a minute. So my analytics show me that most of the people that watch this channel are my age group. And the majority of them are men. However, the women out there, this is of interest to you because you know men that may have gone through this or statistically will go through this. It may be a husband, a boyfriend, a son, who knows? But prostate cancer has touched somebody's life that you know out there, man, woman, or beast. And so my PSA velocity went up. And velocity, I mean, if you think of velocity like a bullet, how fast is a bullet moving? Well, as men age, their prostate their PSA value goes up. PSA velocity. That stands for prostate screening antigen. That's an antigen that gland produces, and that is the best screening tool that we have for that. It is a blood test. Best screening tool right now that we have that doesn't require something more, drastic like an MRI or something. And so my velocity went up. Normally mine had been in the high ones to low twos. 1.7, 1.8, 2.3, 2.4. Had gotten as high as 2.8. Many things can cause your PSA to go up. It could be you ate a lot of red meat here lately. Could be you could have consummated your marriage recently or relationship. It could be that if that's TMI, I apologize. I'm just giving it to you like it is. If you have a infection of the prostate, then that's going to cause it to go up. And so normally what happens is doctors, if they see it drastically go up, they will go ahead and put you on a course of biotics to make sure it's just not an infection that's causing the problem. So my case was my urologist retired. He'd been watching it for years. He was aware that there was a lesion there that needed to be monitored. And typically, if there is a difference that occurs in that, then they would do a biopsy. Biopsy meaning they have to go in and take samples of it, which is not something that's, I won't go through that, but it's not something that's, it's not nice. Not a good situation. Not a good procedure. And, well, he retired. And so I went to his partner. Well, his partners are very close to retiring. His partner's very close to retiring. And when I went to see his partner told me that they didn't have to do a full exam. I only had to do that ever so often. Well, I have a family history of prostate cancer. My papa had it, had a prostatectomy where they remove it. My father had it. They removed his. It's genetically in my family. And so I had kind of resigned myself to that is what's going to happen when I reach the age. And both of them were my age in 60, 61-ish. So went to him. He was a little too cavalier in telling me that I didn't need to have a full exam. We could just track the blood work. Well, I have always been told my entire life, ever since I was 40, and been creating a baseline before they would ever let me go to let me, pay, or insurance would pay for me to have an exam. I would go to the free cancer awareness screening and have a blood test. And they've always told me you need to have a full exam, and I never would do it until I turned 50. Insurance paid for it, and at that point, then they began to give me the full exam. And so anyway, they've been tracking that. Well then, so move ahead to the end of November, my velocity went up, went to a new urologist I found, and went to Levine Cancer Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he said, well, let's go have an MRI. So MRI now has become the gold standard for discovering tumor growths there, or anything else that's wrong with it for that matter. And so that's what they did. They and typically in the old days, I mean maybe just 10 years ago, they would have jumped ahead right to a biopsy, which is very invasive and can cause infections and other issues. And so what they did is they put me in an MRI. The MRI showed a 7-millimeter lesion. They call it a lesion because there was something growing there in my gland. And they give you a score, 1 to 5, 1 being nothing, 2 being maybe, 3 being we're not sure, 4 being likely cancer, 5 being highly likely cancer. I scored a 4. So obviously that's concerning, stressing, what have you to me. And so the next thing is for a biopsy. So I had to schedule the biopsy. And let me just say this, that I feel like the Lord has been moving in all of this. And the reason I say that is because it's moved a lot faster than I thought it would. Now, I have had to stay on it. I have had to constantly call and I don't know how you say that. I've had to worry people to death about getting me an appointment, moving on to the next level, doing the biopsy the way I want it done. There's 2 different methods they can use. One of them is more prone to infection than the other. And so, obviously I wanted that kind, but it's considered surgery. It has to be done surgically. They have to put me under, whereas the other one, they can do it in the office under local. So, got that biopsy done, got it scheduled, got it done. And that was last week. And so I had been waiting for my biopsy scores to come back. And, I had been role playing, doing every support group I could find about this type of cancer, and read the book Surviving Prostate Cancer by Dr. Peter Walsh, I believe it is, which is a awesome book if you know anybody going through this. That is something, it explains in layman's terms, helps you to understand it. But in any case, that is something that I would highly, highly recommend a book. And I'm type A personality. I got to know everything that's going on with me, my body, so that I can prepare. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to look ahead to what's the next step. I'm going to be 3 steps in front of something if I can possibly get it there. And so that's what I did. So been waiting all week for the biopsy to come back, the report, and checking my portal now, a dozen times a day. And finally, it came back, and they did 20 cores on me, 3 on the lesion, and then the remainder systemically, they call it, throughout the rest of the gland. And that way, while they're in there, while they're doing all this, while they're doing this evasive test, then they want to make sure that they do, if it's somewhere else, because all you're doing is you're taking core samples of the gland with needles. And so you're taking little pieces of it out, but it's obviously a needle biopsy. And so it's just a tiny cylinder, but that's the best way they can do it right now. And so he did 20, that's what he did, 3 of the lesion, came back, send that to a pathologist, they will review it. If you come back, if it comes back malignant, they'll tell you malignant or benign, and then they'll give you a Gleason score. So the Gleason scores go 3 plus 3 equals 6. That's the best case scenario, unless it's benign. Otherwise, malignancy, 3 plus 3 equals 6. So just in a nutshell, the first number tells you the most amount of cancer cells they see, and the second, and how likely they are to spread. And the next number tells you the second most common type of cancer cell that they see on the slide, and how likely they are to spread. So a 3 means you have a first grade tumor or grade 1 tumor, and it's not likely to spread. So if you have a 3 plus 3 equals 6, that's the best case scenario if you have malignancy in there. Because that's not going to spread, less likely to spread, and what they would do is just called active surveillance. So they would do your PSA every 6 months, do a MRI every 6 months. If they see something else again, they would go in and do a biopsy. And some people are on active surveillance for years. I've seen 7 years, 14 years. Some people are on them not so long, and they have to have something else. And then the next score is a 4. So it could be 3 plus 4. So 4 would mean this is a grade 2 cancer. It's likely or possibly could spread, likely to spread. And then, of course, the next grade above that is a 5. So if you have a 3 plus 3, active surveillance is what they do. If you have a 3 plus 4, because 3 is first, that's the most common, it's less likely to spread. Well, then they could make a choice about putting you on active surveillance, or you could make the choice, and you always have the choice of having it removed. There's also other types. There's radiation, chemo, messing with your hormones. All of those, including surgery, have bad ramifications. None of it's good stuff, obviously, because you're dealing with cancer. If you have a 4 plus 3 equals 7, so 3 plus 3 equals 6, 3 plus 4 equals 7, which is grade 2. 4 plus 3 equals 7, but it's grade 3 because the most common is the 4, because it's the first number and it's likely to spread. So my role playing was, okay, God, I'd like for everything to be benign. That's what I'm praying for. But if that's not in your will, please let it be a 3 plus 3. And then that way I can just go on active surveillance. Now, even if it's a 3 plus 3 and there's no cancer that's going to spread, that doesn't mean that later the 3 plus 3 doesn't become a 4, but you could have a tumor that crops up somewhere else, and that would become a 4. That may necessitate some type of action other than active surveillance. So anyway, got the biopsy report back. I called up the nurse. I hadn't got it back all week. And the doctor said, you're going to get it before I do. So my appointment was today, Thursday, and I had the biopsy done last Wednesday. And yesterday, Wednesday, still didn't have the biopsy report. I've been checking it all week. And everybody that I've had here local that has been praying for me, my Bible study club, they've been praying for me, and it's been like, okay, keep us posted. So finally I called him up and I said, and this was under the premise of just saying maybe I need to reschedule my appointment, but actually I was trying to spur him on to call somebody and find out where the heck my biopsy report was. So I called him up and I said, hey, but remember, you got to be your advocate for yourself, because nobody else is going to be your advocate. You've got to do that. And so I called him up and I said, hey, I haven't got my biopsy report yet. Do we need to reschedule? He said I would get it before I did. What do I need to do about that? And they said, well, we'll have his nurse give you a call later in the day. I'm like, okay, I'll be fine. So I did it at 10 o'clock that morning, figuring that would give them some time to call over to the lab and go, where the heck's his report? And the lady there on the desk says, I still see it's in processing, so we'll let you know. I'm like, okay, great. Well, I got the call about 12 o'clock yesterday, and she goes, Mr. Ramsey, this is nurse so-and-so, and your report is now in, so go ahead and keep your consult for tomorrow, your appointment. I'm like, okay, great. Well, of course, I think they called over there and want to know where the heck it was at, and somebody put it on my portal. But as soon as she said that, you get this sickness in your stomach. You've been looking for it, and all of a sudden, you just get this sickness in your stomach. And I've been on my knees about this a lot, folks, and hit them again, and then drove a ways away. I was down at Wilmington on a job site and getting ready to get me some lunch. So I drove over to the battleship USS North Carolina. It's kind of a peaceful place. Was going to eat my lunch there and look across the waterfront, and it was too windy. Couldn't eat my lunch. It was a salad. It would have been blown all over the USS North Carolina. And anyway, I had that sick pit in your stomach feeling that, okay, I just need to look at the report. No way I'm going to be able to eat like this. And so I opened it up. And when I opened up the report, it gives you a blow by blow, which the 20 cores, it says where they were taken, what the decision was on it, what the diagnosis was on that particular core, and then it gives you a description of the core. And as I'm reading down the long list, because it's 20 cores long, it says benign, 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 and I'm scrolling going, okay, when are we going to get to the one that's going to be malignant? What's it going to say? I get to the bottom, folks, and every core was benign. Every single one of them. Praise the Lord. I cannot tell you. And so even at that time, though, I saw that, and I've kind of got a feeling that, okay, this is great. This is awesome. Thank you, Lord. But then I'm like, am I reading this right? Am I looking at this right? I mean, I have prepared myself for weeks that I've got cancer. What am I going to do if it's this, this, and this? If I have to have surgery, how long am I out? How long am I off trail? What's it going to do to how long will it be before I can get back to you guys? And so anyhow, I'm like, okay, tomorrow's my consult. I've got a little bit of weight lift off my shoulder, but I'm not going to believe it till I hear it from the doctor. Not completely. Of course, I'm thanking the Lord for that, for everything so far, and asking him for his wisdom. And so we get to the doctor of the day, and he goes, well, I guess you read your report, didn't you? Yeah. He goes, well, everything's benign. I just kind of looked at my wife and just smiled and said, praise the Lord. And I told the doctor, I said, I'm going to give this all to God, because I've had a lot of people praying for me, and that's just all there is to it. So pretty dang amazing, I would say. And I really do feel like this was the Lord's doing. I would say that he healed me of it. And it doesn't matter whether he healed me of it then or he prevented me from having it. The fact is, I had everything stacked against me. I had, my PSA had gone up. The biggest thing is genetically, I should have got it. Now, because I have it now, doesn't mean I won't ever get it. But what it does, it gives me a second chance on life to begin with. I'm looking at stuff a whole lot different now, even though it did before. But what it does is it gives me the opportunity to do more research about how I can help my body fight off if there's ever any cancer to come up, if there's ever any sickness. What can I do to improve my immune system? And for the past year, I've been doing that, working with diet and everything else. But now I've got a second lease on life to do that, and I am excited about it. I'm excited about sharing more with y'all. I'm excited about getting more trail time. I'm excited about helping my mom and my dad. As you know, my mom had a TBI, has dementia, and my dad, he turns 87 this month. And my mom's right behind him at 87. And so I want to enjoy the last bit of time they have as conscious, sentient beings able to do stuff, and as much as they can anyway. And so I just want to give it all to God again. Thank you folks out there for praying for me. Thank you so much. I cannot tell you how much that means to me. And I really think it made all the difference in the world. I think the Lord heard your prayers and he healed me. Whatever he did, I think he did it all for his grace and his glory. And so I'm excited to see what the rest of my life, and particularly this year, has. Folks, that is all I've got. You can ask me any question you want to. If you are somebody suffering with prostate cancer or high PSA or something, please send me a DM with your telephone number. I will give you a call and we will talk. Or we can do a face-to-face over the internet or something like that. Or if you live near me, I'll come see you. Or you can come see me, or we'll meet halfway. But this is not something that you have to suffer alone. Men, women of men that have it do not have to suffer alone. There's resources out there. Prostate cancer is one of the more curable cancers. Doesn't mean you don't have cancer. It doesn't mean people don't die from it. What it is, though, is that most men have it, and they will tell you that most men, while they may not die of prostate cancer, if you were to autopsy them in their death, they would actually have it. It just depends on how bad it gets. But I want to share that with anybody that needs somebody to minister to them or talk to them about it. I've got a lot of information that I've learned about it, and I will be more than happy to sit down and discuss all that with you. Folks, Daisy came along with me, and Daisy, you have gotten in a mess. Oh my gosh, I want y'all to see her. She is an absolute mess. But there she is. She's got to be in the video, right? Folks, that's all I got. As always, appreciate you, and we hope to see you out here.